Welcome to the Sweet and Sassy podcast. Today is episode 9 being aired. This will be aired at the by the second Friday of August. I have with me my wonderful co-host Molly Lowe, Lotus Mentoring, LinkedIn business coach. She will give herself a little introduction.
Hello, hello. Y'all know me by now, but let me just reintroduce in case we have new people here. So, I am your LinkedIn queen. I am the person who helps you to earn a lot of money on your LinkedIn presence and your LinkedIn profiles. And so, I work with coaches and online service providers to help you to master lead generation, attraction marketing content, and experience-based sales. Ooh, had a hiccup there. And the beautiful thing about this is I do this by blending both spirituality and strategy together to help you to do that.
She's got some good things coming up in the works. We were just talking about in the fall, exciting things coming and working with some different things for her lead gen that she was just talking about. So always evolving and growing. Keep things consistent for a while, try things for a little bit. If it doesn't work, then you change it after 60 to 90 days if it's not working. Change it, try new things, evolve and grow, right?
That's right.
All right, so I am Jen Carpenter. Summertime look here. Kids are home playing baseball, and then here we are recording our podcast. So, Jen Carpenter, Secure and Savvy Solutions. Started my journey in entrepreneurship about 4 years ago in the world of being able to help other people like me who wanted to step into entrepreneurship and be able to have the legal resources they need to start their business, home based businesses, small businesses, to deal with problems that are unexpected and be able to have affordable resources, for everyday situations as well, in addition to offering personal legal and identity protection to their employees to show their employees they care about them and to also stand out from other business owners with offering extremely valuable benefits. I also stepped in the world of what I call mind flow mastery coaching. And my passion really is helping people be able to be the best version of themselves and really overcome in the past, stop living in the past and stop paying attention to the negative past experiences that tend to overtake our conscious mind coming through from the subconscious mind. When it gets in our way, I can help people learn how to stop paying attention to it and shift their mentality so they could do their all they're set out to do as a business owner, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as being you. And that's what we're talking about today. So, the topic is shifting from our prior corporate world, if you will, but making the choice really. So, like to leave, making the choice, the power of choice that I often talk about, the power of one decision. We've talked about it several times before. Making the shift to choose to shift your life from corporate to entrepreneurship to improve, change, and maintain your mental wellness and your physical health. So, mind, body, soul, everything, like Molly started to talk about already. Um, I chose to step into entrepreneurship when I just wanted to take control of my life. My kids were 2 and 3 years old. Things didn't make sense as two full-time working parents at the time. And I knew that I was made for more and I didn't want to run around like a crazy person anymore. I wanted to be able to take better care of myself and be able to be a better version of myself for my children and have a greater passion and purpose to serve other people with my gifts. That's what everybody does. Everybody does it in a different way. They choose to make their life the way they want it to be and live the way they want so they can live their best life while serving other people with their expertise. So running around like a crazy person didn't serve me well. I became very anxious. I became very overwhelmed, stressed out all the time, not fulfilled, not satisfied with what I was doing. Those are all the feelings that come up when you decide sometime in your 20s or 30s, usually or a little later in life, that you're going to choose a new path, whether that be, you know, totally going into full entrepreneurship or working your way into it, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's some people too, I always say we're born into entrepreneurship and some people make the choice like we have. Your first gen in your family, I know. So wherever you want to go with that and tell us a little bit about where, I know you came from the corporate HR world and what it came down to make that choice. And then we'll talk more about, keeping our wellness as we are on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. The crazy thing about this is, as I reflect back, that decision to start my business and especially going full time was one of the craziest but the bravest decision that I ever made to this point in my life.
Yes,
Honestly, right? I
yes,
mean, like,
yes.
and here's the thing, my HR career wasn't broken per se. It wasn't like it was like draining all the life of me. It
Sure,
wasn't like,
yeah, a little
yeah, I
different,
was,
yeah.
100%. I was in my zone of excellence,
Yeah,
meaning I could do my work in my sleep. I was actually really good at it. If you talk to any of my former leaders and even subordinates and colleagues, they'll tell you, like, Molly was amazing at what she did. And just because it's not broken doesn't mean that you just accept it for what it is and you accept complacency, right? And so that decision really was from a place of, I mean, when we want to talk about holistic wellness, mental, emotional, I mean, this was a holistic decision that I made for me. For the first time in my life, I felt like my decision to start my business was for me. It was a reflection of me and who I wanted to become. And my business was going to open doors to that, right? And so, oh yeah, the scariest, craziest, but most courageous decision ever. And when you make those kind of decisions, just like you said, Jen, it was so wonderful, right? It's that one key decision. That decision, it's almost like you're opening up a portal to a completely different universe version of you, right? That you're like, all right, I'm making the decision now and I'm claiming it. I'm gonna walk through it and see what I experience. And so,
I wrote so many things down to touch on even before
yes,
we move to the next topic. Love it. I love that you come from a different place too, that it was not exactly, the worst experience. So, for one, I still think about that quite often. I'm down to 3 days a week part-time in healthcare. I'm really good at what I do. People think it's crazy that I wanna walk away from what I do. I still may do some short days and do, 2 days a week. If I did very minimal, I have that in my map. So I do enjoy it to some degree. What I do with the lymphatic therapy that I do, I make a huge impact on people's lives with lymphatic drainage, their overall health and wellness. And actually, I get their lymphatic system to flow more how it's supposed to. It actually goes hand in hand with wellness and the fact that I help people get their mind and their life in flow. So, if I did continue, it would be only a very short amount of that because I'm the only one certified to do it there and I bring a ton of value to where I'm at. So yeah, people do think it's crazy that I've been a PT assistant for almost 19 years and I'm really freaking good at what I do. And it's also a very much a paradox too. So you may have this happen when you're in the decision making process. Like I will just get into decision making. And I'll go back to these points. You weigh your risks and rewards, and then you check your intuition. What is best for me? So I it's a paradox very often that it's mind-boggling to me that I want to leave that career that I've done, that I'm good at, but I know I'm choosing me and what's best for me. When I choose what's best for me, it's also what's best for my children. That is something I've talked about quite a bit, not feeling guilt and shame of doing what's best for you. But yeah, it's a big decision. It's a really big decision. When I made the big decision to also power of one decision, choose me, it also is what ended my marriage. I mentioned that before. So, making big, scary decisions, having the courage and the confidence to do it, clarity, courage, and confidence to do it, is the power of what I teach in my program. You could leave your corporate job and divorce your husband the next day. I say it in a way like that because that's how impactful it can be. So, the power of choosing you can completely change the trajectory of your life and you said too, saying goodbye to your former self. You really are saying goodbye to the past, who you were before you learned what you learned and what you know when you work with me. You will never want to go back to how you were living before. So that could be even like a person who goes into rehab and has a drug or drinking problem, and you can say, I never want to go back to the way I was living before. You're saying goodbye to your former self and you're making space for a new, better version of you that is completely aligned with your values and your goals and what you want out of life. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with choosing you, no matter what anyone else says, ever. That's a lot right there. People pleasing, victim mentality, not feeling guilt and shame for doing what's best for you. That's a lot. That's a whole episode in its own.
Yes. Yeah, but you really hit on that. I think that we wrangle with this concept of being air quote selfish, right? But really what it is self-empowerment. It is your ability to say, for the first time in my life, I am doing something for me. And that's how you know the decision is in alignment with you because just as you said, as a mom, I knew that making this decision was going to be in the greater for the greater good of all of us. I mean, I used to have so much guilt around chaperoning for field trips and like volunteering in the classroom
Yeah,
and kid pickup and kid drop off. Oh no, not anymore. I'm that person that's consistent in my kid's life. I get to go on field trips. I
yep.
get to, do all these things and it's funny, but my kids, they're like, "Oh, Mom, we see you all the time." And I'm like, that was intentional.
Yeah, they will be super grateful for it someday that you were always there for them and you created this life that you created for yourself and them. That is
Absolutely.
extremely powerful right there. Um, it's about who you become in the process. So it's not about the outcome, it's about who you become in the process for sure of deciding, making the choice to do what's best for you in any case. Health and wellness, mind, body, and soul. And also, you talked about doing scary things. If your goals are not um, irrational and unrealistic, then they're not big enough. They
Amen to
should
that.
scare the crap out of you so that you can stay on path towards those things. And having love and compassion for yourself, that again, it's a good choice to do things in any given moment that suit you in the overall big picture. I used to feel guilty for going to a dance class twice a week that took an hour and a half for me to go there and back. Um, I've been working a ton from home and just letting my kids play, play, play all day. There were days I felt guilty about it, and I said, you know what? No, this is what's best for them. It's summer. They should just be play, play, playing all day. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good for you to be doing what you need to do for you all day. You spend a couple hours later in the day with them. It's totally fine, not having the guilt and shame around that. Um, and okay, so I got those couple notes there. Anything else on where we're at right now with our topics before we
Yeah,
get into the next thing?
I just want to add a little bit on the physical health and the
Yes,
mental
please.
health component of making the decision to start my business, especially going full time. I ran my first half marathon 2 years ago, okay? And if I wasn't a full-time entrepreneur, there would have been no way that I could have prioritized doing that for me to really focus on my health and to train for this half marathon. I mean, if I was working my
Totally.
traditional 9 to 5 job, right, it would have been like, where would I have
It's
found time?
possible. It's
Yeah,
possible, just not
yes,
quite as
it's not as
simple.
flexible. Yes, right. And
Yeah.
so, without that give and take, right? And so I've never been as healthy as I am physically prior to launching my business because I get to prioritize the moments where, okay, yep, today's a running day. We're gonna go run today, right? And so I wanted to add that piece. I think that there's so much goodness in this decision that I have made. Now, from a mental perspective as well,
Yeah.
that emotional mental, same thing, right? For me in corporate, it was constant run, 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 go, go, go. And
Mhm.
now
Yep.
I get to pick and choose the pace in which my day is going. I was actually just talking to someone today and he was like, "Well, how's your day?" I'm like, "Actually, it's starting out really slow." And I am all about that. We need to have some slow moments and some
Yeah.
slow mornings
Yeah.
sometimes. So,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship has allowed for me to do that.
Totally. Totally. Since you're on the topic, I know you talked a little bit mental and physical. Share with the audience a little bit about how you incorporate some of your routines, if you will, because it's, easier to do as an entrepreneur, but you still have to be super scheduled, time delegation, and activity management, really. It's not time management. So just kind of maybe a little bit of actionable steps on that, and I will as well.
Absolutely. You're spot on. Your calendar reflects everything that you say you're going to do. And the first thing you need to do is not break your own promise to yourself. Right? That's the
Yes.
hardest thing, right?
Yep.
And so my calendar has combined personal and my business together. I will literally put in there journal time, meditation time, exercise time, break time, lunch time, in there. Walk, go on a walk time. All of these things are incorporated in there to hold myself accountable because guess what? No one is going to be able to book another time, over that spot. So there really shouldn't be, unless I consciously decide to double book myself or to not make that a priority. I really think
Totally.
that those are the things that you need to think about on what's one activity that you can do to help you physically, what's one activity that can help you emotionally, and what's one activity for, mentally, and then just block it
Yes.
into your calendar and
Yes.
just stay committed.
Awesome. Consistent, committed, and accountable, holding yourself accountable. We've talked about accountability before, but you have to hold yourself accountable. But when it comes also to some physical and mental accountability, sometimes you need a little help with that too. So whether you have a workout partner or not, or you just have really great support, maybe from your spouse, like, hey, leave mom alone right now. She's doing her hour of what she needs to do for her, whether, outside of business, or don't you incorporate some of your time when you're on your bike and stuff like that too? That was something I was thinking about. What do you do when you're exercising and biking?
Yes, so a lot of what I do is I love being able when I'm working on things, right? It's creation time. It's innovation time.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's the okay, allow for the mental downloads from God and the universe to come in. Like, what do I actually want to do next? What's exciting for me next, right?
Yeah.
So it's so much more than just me working out. It's an ability for me to not only burn my energy, but also get some downloads for innovation and ideas.
Totally. I agree. I like that because it's a great stress reliever to get out of your head and into your body and be physical, but also a great space for opening up your mind. So you said innovation. I just wanted to write it down. Innovation and creativity. It's where things come to you at
That's
that time
right.
as well.
Yes, yeah, because you're
Totally.
not doing anything but just walking or running or doing whatever. So
Yeah.
that's what that boredom in that moment
Clarity.
in time absolutely
Yeah.
sparks
Totally.
innovation.
Totally. For me, I usually dance about 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, alone in my basement with my dance lights. Sometimes for an hour. A few weeks ago, I danced for 3 hours straight. Um, that is a way for me to still get out a lot of emotions. So let's just go straight to the mental health. There was one note here. I wanted to see if this is where it was tying in. Yeah, so emotion is energy in motion. I'm talking about emotion. How to use physical health to get unstuck in your business, brainstorming. That's what you talked about. Because you have to show up so often in a rational state of mind, which means logical and non-emotional, to be on your game in business with your family, all of these things all the time. This is something that I've explored a bit recently, and I'll keep it fairly brief. There's the whole saying of don't think, just do. Just don't let your thoughts or your feelings get in the way and take action. I came across something the other day that said, this is two things. Don't think, just feel, for one, okay? If you spend too much time thinking, you're not going to go through the emotions. And I learned I wasn't going through all of the emotions. I wasn't going through the good emotions or the bad emotions. When you go through a lot of stuff, you set those emotions aside. I very much teach in my program and my events. You need to give yourself time and space to go through anger, frustration, pain, whatever it is. So if you're going to dance it out, whatever, or if it's a real physical activity like kickboxing or something, maybe you just need walking or biking for clarity, creation. But sometimes you got to get out some anger and frustration. You need some time and space and make time and space to go through those things. Um, because this leads to the next piece. Very often I've said, and I'm shifting this as well, your thoughts create your reality. They do, but what actions are you taking because of that? What decisions are you making? We have a choice. You make a choice. Um, what feeling does the thought create? And you got to kind of, debunk it. If it's a negative feeling, you got to be like, oh, I've done this before. I could do this before. Remind yourself gratitude, positive affirmations to reframe your thought. But if you don't have time and space in that moment to go through that feeling, you've got to give yourself some time to celebrate the wins, go through the joy, have fun, celebrate your wins, small wins, big wins. It all comes down to the same things. Celebrate, feel the good feelings, feel the love, feel the embrace, feel all the good things that you need to feel. But sometimes you've got to feel the crappy things too. And you got to make time and space for it. So, however, you need to get through that, these are really like interesting shifts. So I feel more empowered to say, your thoughts give you choices. You get choices based on those choices that you make. Your decisions actually create your reality. So that's
Mm.
really where I'm going with my program and how I present what the impact is of it. It's the power of decision, the power of one decision, the power of choice. And the more you can make empowering choices sooner in life, the better. And the more you get more of what you want. Um, with this topic of that's a lot on the mental health part, a little bit of the physical health part, mind, body, and soul, doing things that are aligned with your intentions, goals, values. Let's talk a little bit about that before we wrap it up.
Hmm.
Any thoughts on that to start, getting aligned and the choices that you make with your health, your mental health, all of those things that help you stay aligned with your decisions and your direction.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to two things. I think the first thing is, as much as you all listening to me in general, we're sitting here giving you guys amazing tips and tricks on how we're doing things. But at the end of the day, I do believe that no one size fits all. You have to know yourself, right? Like
Totally.
what is it, right? What is it that you want to do? And so that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, I do believe in clarity. I mean, we touched on that today already. Is when you can allow for when you can allow for the spaciousness for you to just give space and time for clarity, the more you know who you are. Once you know who you are, the closer you get to what you want. And then the what you
Yes.
want, right? The who you are and what you want are two in one.
That's
And
what
they
I
just
say all day in my program. I love it. I love it.
yes,
To
yes.
get more of what you want. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to know who you are, right? And then once you know who you are and what you want, then the decisions are so clear. You don't have to worry about the how. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, well, what's the first step? You don't got to worry about that because guess what? When you are super duper clear and aligned with who you are and what you want, all of the steps are laid out in front of you. Like, this is next. Yep, this is me. This is me. This is not me. You are never going to see me run in an Ironman. That's never going to happen, right? But another half marathon probably. I'll do that, right? So it's like, because that's just not me. It's not what I want. So that's what I would
Yeah.
say.
Clarity is usually the first answer. People would be like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? I don't know. You got to decide what you want. You got to get super clear on what you want. And then the how is none of your business. That's a Les Brown quote, I believe. The how is none of your business. Um, Staying aligned. Some of the things sometimes that you might be doing may not actually be aligned with your goals in your business, your personal life. That goes to like the non-negotiables. You talked about all the different areas you want to learn to spend time in your day. So, having a calendar, time blocking, scheduling, brain dumping in the beginning of the week, scheduling your week out, making sure you have time and space for all of those things. Um, Being able to have clarity on things that serve you, knowing what doesn't serve you anymore. Non-negotiables being like, I want to expand my brain each day, so maybe you read 10 pages a day or learn something new every week or every month. So, like, I have this copywriting course that I've still not done. I think it's 3 hours, it's fantastic. Haven't made time for, I love to learn and grow. And that's part of entrepreneurship is learning new things and growing, making time and space for that in your day, whether it's, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour on that copywriting course today. I'm going to read 10 or 20 pages of a book. What fills you, what fuels you, what fills your soul? Is it music? Is it dancing? Is it just being in nature? You said the physical, the mental, and learning and growing. Usually those are kind of besides the income producing activities you want to do, and relaxing, having a little time to relax. So maybe those things where you have more clarity and reflection are when you meditate for 10 minutes when you wake up. Maybe you do gratitude in the morning, maybe you have a gratitude list in the evening, whatever works for you. When I typically meditate for 10 minutes, I focus on my intention. Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up each day? Joyful, present, and focused. Does it align with me to be angry, mad, or frustrated with my kids? And I'm only hurting myself when I do that. Getting clarity on who you are, what you want, and choosing to show up to the best of your ability each day. The gratitude is what anchors you down for whatever to align you with everything that you're doing. So making it your own, making it fit your schedule to get all the things that you need to fill all the buckets, to fill all those little 3 to 5 buckets in a day of those pieces of everything you need to hit. And maybe some days you don't hit them all either. You do the best you can. You show up on your game as often as possible. So that will wrap up another episode of the Sweet and Sassy Show podcast, unless there's anything else Molly wants to add.
Nope, spot on. Well
Little bit
done.
of a long one today. So yeah, that was really awesome. Thank you all for being here. As I said, this episode will come out the second Friday of August. And right now, these are just once a month. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Jen Carpenter, Secure and Savvy. Molly Lowe is Lotus Mentoring, I believe, on YouTube as well. And connect with us on LinkedIn. Grab a time on our calendars if you would like to learn more or meet with one of us in the future. Thank you for your time today.